all events and anniversaries between 2007 and 2011. Maybe only one slide from 2012 I scripted into this. I'm sorry about it, but a little over enthusiastic. I brought 2012, only one slide in today's presentation, which means we'll be missing that in 2012. Next slide. Okay, this is a beautiful steam locomotive taken by me. This runs as a tourist attraction. Some of these steam trains are still running. They're keeping all these trains in beautiful conditions, very well maintained. And they go on a scenic route everywhere, and people enjoy being with it. So I had to identify the timing, everything, go on top of hilltop and wait for the train to come. It was a beautiful train. I liked it and I took the shot. I thought I'll present it on this day. Now, the first slide, establishment of Japan Post Corporation, 1st October 2007. It's a mini sheet, commemorative, and it's got 10 stamps, each of 80 yen's face value. Japan Post is a government-owned corporation in Japan that existed from 2003 to 2021, offering postal and package delivery services, banking services, and life insurance. On October 1st, 2007, Japan Post was privatized following a fierce political debate that was settled by general elections in 2005. So this stamp is commemorate that, this privatization, and issued on 1st October 2007. Of course, there can be no stamp without two of the first stamps. One is the Baron's portrait. The other one is the dragon stamp, okay, of the 1871. Now, the next is 39th International World Skills Festival, which was, this stamp was released on 23rd October 2007. Again, a mini sheet, commemorative, 10 stamps of 80 yens each. Over 4 days of competition, more than 700 young people drawn from 45 member countries and regions tested themselves against tough international standards in 40 key skills and technologies. The ultimate prizes will be gold, silver, and bronze medals. And to commemorate this particular event, this mini sheet was released, showing you the different skills that was a part of the competition. We have an interesting stamp set. The 150th anniversary of Kyoto University, the 150th anniversary of the Keio University in 2008. The stamp was released. In 1868, when political revolution shifted power from the Tokugawa shogunate to newly centralized imperial government. Okay, that was the Meiji government. Yukichi Fukuzawa's private school, now 10 years in the making, was laying the foundation of a future school that became famous. Upon relocation to Shiba Shinsenzawa, Fukuzawa and his fellow Western scholars established Keio Gijiku, an organization that would evolve into Keio University, one of Japan's first modern institutions of higher learning. On April 2018 marks exactly 150 years since Fukuzawa renamed it as Keio Gijuku after the contemporary Keio era, 1865 to 1868. It's the birth of Keio University, and to commemorate the 150th anniversary, this stamp was released on 2008 on the November 7th, a commemorative stamp, and you can see this stamp. There will be some more details in the following slides on this Keio University. The relocation and renaming of the school is now considered a major turning point in the transformation of the school into Keio University. Keio was not to remain a small private school, but was instead became a Gijuku, a modern institution open to anyone wishing to pursue Western studies, regardless of class or caste. And the reason why we say that at that point of time, Japan still had a class or a caste system prevailing. So, irrespective of that, the school opened itself for anyone who wants to study Western studies. It operated in the same manner as schools in the West. It is Keio Gijutsu that popularized the concept and led to its use across the country, Japan. The name Keio, on the other hand, was simply a sign of the times, meant as a temporary placeholder to be later changed. As indicated by another passage which states, the school's provisional name shall be Keio Gijuku, after the year of its establishment. Fukuzawa left the school's name unchanged, despite repeated government demands to rename it. And though some denounced him for his staunch refusal to join the new Meiji government, he paid such criticism no mind. Fukuzawa's defiance signifies the importance he placed on retaining the right to free speech as an independent citizen. Even in 1868, the year of great political upheaval, following the restoration, Tokugawa loyalists, now disgruntled by the surrender of the Edo Castle, which later on become, when we talk about castles of Japan, we'll also be talking about Edo Castle, which has today become the Imperial Palace area, took up positions in the hills of Ueno, where they were attacked by the Imperial forces. Yet Fukuzawa maintained his composure, delivering his regular Saturday lecture on economics as always. This Fukuzawa anecdote illustrates his respect for academic education even in times of turbulence and uncertainty. He continues his Yukiichi Fukuzawa Francis Wayland Memorial Lectures, which are held annually in May 15 at the Mita Public Speaking Hall to commemorate Fukuzawa's bravery of defying the Meiji government. A ceremony to commemorate Keiyo's 150th year anniversary was held at the Yoshi campus on Saturday, November 8, 2008. Now, that's the reason why you can see the stamp released on 2008, November 7 sheet, and also the stamps as independent stamps as well as satin and pairs. The satin and pair is 56 by 39 millimeters, and the individual stamp is 28 by 39 millimeters. Stamps printed in beautiful multicolors commemorative stamps, and the photogravure printing was done. Planned as a formal and international program benefiting the occasion, it was attended by 10,000 people, including alumni, students, and guests from Japan and abroad. On November 7th, the day prior to the ceremony, the Keio University 150th anniversary commemorative postage stamp was released of an international symposium, and an international symposium was held. Now, next mini sheet you have is commemorate the 50th anniversary of modern iron manufacturing in 2008. Okay. The year 2008 marked the 150th anniversary of the birth of modern iron manufacturing in Japan, since the first modern Western-style blast furnace was constructed and began producing pig iron in Japan. The appearance of the blast furnace, which produces iron by continuous process using iron ore as a raw material, replacing Japan's traditional tatara. You can see a photograph of tatara down below. Tatara blowing process was the epoch-making event, because the persons who are working on tatara, they have to keep themselves awake for almost 3 days and 3 nights before the thing is melted, the iron ore is melted. They stay next to the tatara, and very interestingly, where they have tatara, they also have a small Shinto shrine to make prayers for the safety and good output for the process. And the Tatara people would take care of this Tatara and make the iron ore smelting. They are all known as Shokunin artisans of extraordinary skills, though they are not alchemists understanding, but they understand that metal very well because they were all using this for making the world famous katana, the Japanese swords. And then, since then, the role of iron making process in the steelworks in supplying molten iron with stable quantity and quality to the downstream process remains unchanged even today. Please kindly see a photograph of Tatara, the person who is taking care of the smelting there. And then, since an early date, steel makers have made great changes in blast furnace operating practice in response to the changes in the world economic environment. For example, for Japan's high growth era of 1960s until the 1970s, operation was oriented towards a low reducing agent rate, RAR, in order to expand output and reduce costs. And many blast furnaces challenged the operating record for a low RAR by injecting heavy oil. This stamp sheet was released 2008, December 1st, multicolor and printed in photogravure. It had 10 stamps of 80 yen face value. And following the two oil crises in 1970, there was a change to oil-free, all-coal operation, and the blast furnace was expected to perform an energy conversion function by converting inexpensive coal to high-value, easily used gas energy. Since the beginning of 21st century, the steel industry has undergone the largest, most rapid environmental changes in its history. In particular, these include the need to reduce CO2, carbon dioxide emissions, in response to the global environmental problems and rapidly rising iron ore and coal prices. Then, the 50th anniversary of Japanese weekly comic books for boys called Shokan Shonen Sunday. That's the name of the thing in 2009. This stamp the sheet was released for the 50th anniversary of the Japanese weekly comic books for boys, Shonen Sunday, on March 17, 2009. Okay, the contents of the stamps are given here on the table on this side, and each stamp is also shown here. Two of the most popular comic magazines in Japan, Shokan Shonen Sunday and Shokan Shonen Magazine, were first released in 1959. The stamps are issued to commemorate the 50th anniversary. More information here. The 50th anniversary of Japanese weekly comic books. Okay. Sunday, more noticeable mascot. You can see the mascot on the right-hand side. It's a helmeted fish, debuted in 1980. Prior to the 1990 and 2000, no serial in Weekly Shonen Sunday had run over 40 volumes. Okay, it's a weekly serial that gets the first this thing that ran for more than 40 volumes. In a rare event due to the closeness of the two magazines' founding dates, Weekly Shonen Sunday, the Weekly Shonen released a special combined issue on March 19th, 2008. Okay, so to commemorate that, you have this stamp was released on March 17, 2009, printed in opposite colors, 6 colors, and the size of this thing is 25 by 35 millimeters vertical. You have a sheet that's a stamp size, and you have a vertical sheet. And then the Weekly Shonen Sunday. You see, there are two magazines, as I told you. The Weekly Shonen Sunday, it's a manga magazine published in Japan by the Shogakukan since March 1959. Contrary to its title, weekly Shonan Sunday issues are released on Wednesdays, though it is called as Shonan Sunday, but the release of this issue was always on Wednesdays. And weekly Shonan Sunday was published on March 17, 1959 as a response to its rival Shonen magazine. Despite its name, Weekly Shonen Sunday was originally published on Tuesdays on each week, switching to Wednesdays in 2011. The Sunday in the name was creation of its first editor, Kichiri Toida, who wanted the title to evocative of a relaxing weekend. So Sunday, people normally relax. So they do even in most of the things, though they are supposed to have a weekly magazines in many weekly magazines in India, though they are supposed to be weekend magazines, Saturday, Sunday, they are normally released on Wednesday or Thursday. So people can buy them and relax on a Sunday weekend with those magazines. Now, next is the golden wedding anniversary of the Emperor and Empress of Japan. Japan Emperor Akihito and Empress Michiko marked their 50th wedding anniversary Friday with a series of celebrations, including a gala party. This stamp was released on 2009, April 10th, 45 by 33 mm stamp. And you can also see a souvenir sheet down below, 135 by 112.2 millimeters, 80 yens. Okay, this has got two stamps, 80 yens face value. They are also there. They were all printed in photography. Their wedding was a national sensation and also marked the beginning of Japan's post-war economic boom. Born Michiko Shoda, the eldest daughter of a wealthy flour company executive, she met the then crown prince at a tennis tournament. They married in 1959. Ceremony watched by millions of Japanese on television sets. Many families are said to have purchased especially this television set for that occasion. And that new openness helped bridge the divide between the imperial family and the public and establish the image as an ordinary middle-class couple. And 150th anniversary of the idea of ICRC 2009. This mini sheet was released on May 8th in 2009. The 2013 was the 50th anniversary of ICRC, International Committee of Red Cross, and 2014 marked the 150th birthday of the original Geneva Convention. 150 years ago, ideas were set in motion that heralded a new era of international solidarity. The creation of the International Committee of Red Cross, ICRC, in 1863, and the adoption of the first Geneva Convention in the following year marked the birth of a modern international humanitarian law and action. 150th anniversary of opening of ports Nagasaki. Townsend Harris, the first U.S. envoy to Japan, to negotiate a separate commercial treaty. Before him was, you all know that Commodore Perry came and the doors of Japan was open to outside world. And then Townsend Harris was sent as the U.S. envoy. He wanted to negotiate a separate commercial treaty so that more ports can be opened for international trade. Main focus for international trade with the U.S. Japan at that time was rapidly becoming divided between those who did not want Japan to deal with barbarians. The foreigners at that time were, though the translation may be a little tough, were called as barbarians, Ennagaijin, and want them living in Japan. They don't want foreigners because Japan is known as a Itozuno Minzoku, one race, one country. But nowadays, of course, because the population crunch with more old people and birth rates are falling down, Japan today is opening its doors, but still with control to outsiders. I was surprised this year happened to be my 50th year of first entering into Japan. I went back to say thanks to all the people who invited me at that time as a trainee in construction company. And I was surprised to find many of my boys and girls, they're all living there with good thing. One of my boys also has taken a Japanese citizenship. Now these things are possible. And so at that time it was very tough. So Japanese people did not want foreigners, even when 1972 and then later on 1992, when I went for marketing, we even to get a house on rent, we need a Japanese guarantor, without which I cannot even hire a house. But today everybody can buy a house. Most of my boys and girls have bought their own houses. Okay. Now, those who, at the same time, there was also another group. Those who did not want foreign trade, at least felt Japan had no choice but to accept some foreigners. Though they did not want the foreign trade, but they also thought Japan needs foreigners to be dealing with them in trade. In 1858, Harris Treaty signed between Japan and its US not only confirmed that the status quo at Shimoda and Akadote would continue, but also in Kanagawa, Nagasaki, Niigata, Edo, which is Tokyo, Osaka, and Hyogo would open to US trade in the future. Of course, once Kanagawa was open in this thing, Shimoda was a little isolated. That was closed down later. And then 50th anniversary of opening of Port Yokohama. The year 2009 marked the 150th anniversary of the 1859 opening of the port of Yokohama. Okay, that's the time Commodore Perry came, and then Yokohama was the first one to open its doors. To commemorate this anniversary, the city of Yokohama sponsored Expo Y150, a grand exposition focusing on the history and attractions of the city based on the theme Set Sail. Tanemaru, Tane means seed. Tanemaru was the mascot of the 150th anniversary of the opening of the port of Yokohama. That's where opening of all ports have started. So that is where the seed was grown. You can see the mascot there, seed just growing up and a ship standing on the legs. And Tanemaru embodies the spirit of the camphor tree that stands on the country yard of the Yokohama Archives of History, watching over Japan since the opening of the country more than 160 years ago. And you see a mini sheet which shows you the Yokohama port and the vicinities, and today the modern Yokohama, which is there. And I was very nostalgic about thing, because when I first went to Japan, I lived in Isogo, a part of Yokohama. And of course, my own organization, the ABK, which is Dosokai, we have a close relationship with Kanagawa Prefecture Governor's Office, and some of our people were trained in Japan, in Kanagawa, as Japanese language teachers. The 50th anniversary of opening of ports, Akadote. Akadote is a port in Hokkaido, the northernmost island, the big one of the four major islands of Japan. And it's a front door to Hokkaido and a front door to Japan. The Edo Shogunate opened Kanagawa, Nagasaki, Niigata, Hyogo, and Akadote as international trade ports in 1959, according to Treaty of Amity and Commerce between Japan and the United States of America. 150 years ago, Akadote was the first port in Japan fully open to the outside world. From small fishing village, Akadote grew into a major city with a Western architecture and horse-drawn carriages on the street. Even today, the city still has more churches than any other Japanese town. Now, Akadote is connected to Honshu, that's a main island, by undersea tunnel and Shinkansen services also. And it's a 2-lane Shinkansen services. It's one of the engineering marvels, because it is even, the tunnel runs even below the sea bed itself. Now, 60th anniversary of the Be Kind to Animals Week. In 1949, this stamp set was released in 2009. That means 60 years before, that's in 1949. The week of September 20 to 26 each year, okay, was designated as Be Kind to Animals Week in order to enhance public interest and understanding regarding the humane treatment and proper care of animals. To commemorate the 60th anniversary of the establishment, stamps depicting dogs, cats, chosen by the public advertisements were issued with the charity premium. So if you look at the stamp price, there is a 50 plus. The plus is the one that goes to charity. Okay. And the face value is 50 plus 5N. The 5N is the one that goes to the charity for the bee kinds of animals. So whenever there is a need like that, Japan will put a plus and issue additional price on the stamp for certain good cause. So this time it is for the animals. Now, 20th anniversary Emperor Akihito's accession to the throne, 2009. On January 7th, 1989, upon the demise of Emperor Hirohito, the Showa Emperor, His Majesty Emperor Akihito ascended to the throne as the 125th Emperor of Japan. The ceremony of enthronement was held at the Imperial Palace on 12th November 1990, and the stamp was released, as you can see, 2009, on November 12th, the same day when the accession to the throne takes place. And then you have the stamps, 45 by 33 millimeters, 80 in space value. And then they also have a souvenir sheet, 135, 112.2 millimeters, 80 inch. On January 7th of this year, 2009, which marked the 20th anniversary of His Majesty, the Emperor's accession to the throne, and the ministries, the agencies concerned, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Japan, organized various events to celebrate the 20th anniversary of His Majesty, the Emperor's accession to the throne in 2009. The 100th anniversary of Japan Academy Prize 2010. Kindly, the Japan Academy Film Prize, often called as Japan Academy Prize, the Japan Academy Awards. And the Japan Academy Awards is a series of awards given annually since 1978 by the Japan Academy Film Prize Association for excellence in Japanese film. Award categories are similar to the Academy Awards. Since 1990, the venue is regularly the Grand Prince Hotel, New Takanawa Prince Hotels in Takanawa, Minato-ku, Tokyo. Admission tickets for this award ceremony are also sold at to regular customers. As of 2015, there is a charge of 40,000 yens, which includes a French cuisine, whose dinner named after the awards award ceremony. Spectators are expected to attend semi-formal attire. Elementary school students and younger ones than them are not permitted to attend this function. So you can see the mini sheet and the 3 stamps that are going into the mini sheet, each of which has 28 by 39 millimeters, 80 in face value. And you can see the mini sheet, which is which is printed in multicolor and by offset photography. Then 120th anniversary of the Japanese Parliament, the Diet, in 2010. The first temporary building in foreground was completed in November 24, 1890. A memorable opening ceremony was held on November 29th. The National Diet building was completed in November 1936, and it has been familiar to people as a symbol of Japan's parliamentary politics until today. Stained glass ceiling in the central hall is designed as a background in this stamp. And you can see it's a 6 by 39 millimeters 80 tenant stamp, which is there in multicolor by offset lithography. And also you can see the card, which is there on the right hand side with the first day cancellation. And then you can see the 1890 anniversary establishment, 2 stamps in that. One is Mihon, which is on the right-hand side, you can see the word Mihon in red, which is a specimen stamp for approval. So that is, these stamps are 26 by 37 millimeters multicolor stamps. Now, 1300th anniversary of Nara, Eijokyo capital in 2010. Celebrating the 1300th anniversary of the transfer of capital to Nara, Eijokyo capital in 2010, the stamps are issued to commemorate this anniversary. These stamps depict Eijo Palace and the cultural properties of Nara. During the most of the Nara period, 1710 to 1794, Nara served as the capital of Japan and was known as Eijokyo. Eijo Palace extended about 1 kilometer wide and 1 kilometer long and served as the site of the emperor's residence and government offices. With its great historical, cultural importance, the palace site is included in one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites of Nara. 1300th anniversary of Nara, Eijokyo, you can see the individual stamps. The size is 30 mm by 42 mm vertical. 10 stamps are there. And the stamp details are given here on the right-hand side. What are the stamps? The details of them are here. And it has got a sheet consisting of 10 stamps of ATN. Then 100th anniversary of aviation in Japan. And this stamp was issued in 2010, September 21st, in multicolor mini sheet commemorative stamp. On December 19, 1910, Tokugawa flew Japan's first successful powered aircraft flight in Yoyogi Parade Ground, where Tokyo's Yoyogi Park is now located, only 7 years after the Wright brothers' flight in the United States. On 5th April 1911, Tokugawa piloted the inaugural flight from Japan's first permanent airfield, Tokorozawa. That's in Tokorozawa. Incidentally, I lived in Tokorozawa, very nostalgic again to me. Many of my teammates, when I was in the software industry, they lived there. We almost jokingly called them Tokorozawa as the Indamura. Indamura is Indian village. Today, Kazai, Nishikazai, that's the area that has become Indamura. So, this is the 100th anniversary of the aviation in Japan. The stamps and their details are given here. You can see them as there. It's offset in 6 colors and 35 by 25 mm horizontal stamps. And these are there, the details are there. The 50th anniversary of Japan-US Mutual Cooperation and Security Treaty. The Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security between the United States and Japan is a treaty that permits the presence of US military bases in Japan soil and commits the two nations to defend each other if one or the other is attacked in the territories under the administration of Japan. Over time, it has had its effect of establishing a military alliance between US and Japan. As a matter of fact, you may be aware, after the atomic bomb dropping over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan renounced war as a part of its constitution, and they only have, they don't have an army by itself, they have a defense force. And now, unfortunately, the world is going through a hard time, and there are countries which are into the warpath of the other nations with passion, or how do I call it, to grab somebody else's territory. And Japan may be forced to create some sort of a defense army, I think, which is under contemplation because they have got tough neighbors around them. The current treaty, which took effect on June 23rd, 1960, revised and replaced an earlier version of the treaty, which had been signed in 1951. You can see the Mutual Cooperation Security Treaty stamp, the thing which the signing thing. Then the two parliaments that are in the stamps, both are ATNs, and there is a mini sheet, and the mini sheet is consisting of 10 ATN stamps. The 10th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to Convention of the Biological Diversity. The Convention of Biological Diversity recognizes the sovereign rights of states over their natural resources and areas within their jurisdiction. Parties to this convention, therefore, have the authority to determine access to genetic resources in areas within their jurisdiction. Parties also have the obligation to take appropriate measures with the aim of sharing these benefits derived from their use. You can see a beautiful stamp on the right-hand side, which shows Lake Mashu and the soft rim. It has got 10 stamps of ATNs each. And then the stamps have been independently also shown down on the left-hand side. The third UN Global Union World Congress, the UNI Global, is a global union federation founded on January 2000. Now, if you see the first one stamp is the Peace Park of Nagasaki is there. And it is composed of 900 labor unions in 150 countries and has got 20 million members. The third UNI Global Union World Congress will be held in Nagasaki. So, naturally, they have the Nagasaki Peace Museum as the design of the stamp. And Nagasaki to celebrate the 10th anniversary since its formation, where messages breaking through for peace, no to nuclear weapons, windows to the world, and tolerance will be heard. The stamps depict peace statue of Nagasaki, the UNI Global Union official logo, etc. The stamp was released on November 5, 2010, ATN into 4 stamps, and the stamps are there. There is also a stamp sheet for this, consisting of the same 4 stamps. 150th anniversary of diplomatic relations with Germany. Japanese people in the streets of German capital were surrounded by people. Japanese people in the streets of German capital were surrounded by people in the circles of celebration, with some of them even being tossed into the air by crowds which became rapturous. These cheers appear to have been due to the rumor Japan would join the fight alongside Germany. However, Japan actually ended up declaring war on Germany on August 23rd. Okay, it sent troops to the German-occupied Guigado, and the Germans captured in that battle were sent to prisoner of war camps throughout Japan. Indeed, these prisoner of war would go on to play a major role in fostering German-Japanese friendship. They introduced local residents to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It's been 150 years since Treaty of Amity, Commerce and Navigation was signed between the Shogunate of Edo and Persia on January 1861. However, 1861, Germany did not exist as a single state. In the strictest sense, the relation between Japan and the nation state of Germany dates back to only 150 years to the establishment of the German Empire in 1871. The 50th anniversary of Administrative Counseling System. The Administrative Counseling System was established in April 15, 1961 for the purpose of seeking solutions for complaints and requests on the government administrative services from citizens. The sheet of 10 was issued to commemorate the 50th year. The stamp depicts its symbol mark, an administrative counselor badge, and flowers. This stamp was issued in 2011, April 15th, and the details are here. Stamp size is 28 by 39, ATN, and the sheet is 93.5 by 222.5 millimeter size. Then 5th anniversary of Antarctic Treaty System, 2011. The Antarctic Treaty System, 80th, regulating utilization of Antarctica, was ratified by 12 countries, including Japan, USA, Great Britain, France, and former Soviet Union, Russia, in 1959 for the purpose of peaceful usage, freedom of scientific investigation, and implementation of international cooperation. The year 2011 marks the 50th anniversary since ATS came into force in 1961. The 80th anniversary of Tokyo International Airport 2011. The Tokyo International Airport, commonly known as Haneda Airport. Narita came later. Tokyo Haneda Airport and Haneda International Airport as one of the two international airports serving the greater Tokyo area. Haneda was primary international airport serving Tokyo until 1978, and that support the airport in which I landed in 1972. From 1978 to 2000, Haneda handled almost all domestic flights to and fro from Tokyo, as well as scheduled charter flights to a smaller number of major cities in East Asia, while Narita International Airport handled the vast majority of international flights in 2010. A dedicated international terminal was opened at Haneda in conjunction with the completion of the 4th runway, allowing a long-haul flights during nighttime hours. The Japanese government is currently encouraging the use of Haneda for premium business routes and use of Narita for leisure routes and by low-cost carriers. The 50th anniversary of Tokyo Bunka Kaikan 2011. This is not the same as our Asia Bunka Kaikan. That's ABK in our name. That's Asia. This is Tokyo Bunka Kaikan, Tokyo Cultural Center. The stamps are issued to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Tokyo Bunka Kaikan, which has been a popular concert hall since it was built in 1961. At that time, they had 500 anniversary projects for Tokyo City, and this is one of the projects out of the 500 anniversary projects of Tokyo City. Halls and symbolic items have been depicted in this mini sheet that you see. You can see the main hall, recital hall, ballet shoes, a pair of glasses, keyboards and piano, violin. So all these things have been part of this design, and it has got 6 different designs of ATNs each, and this is 25 by 35 millimeters vertical is the stamp sizes. The 50th anniversary of Festival of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. The Festival of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries has been held nationwide annually on Labor Thanksgiving Day, November 23rd, since 1962. Its aim is to raise people's knowledge of agricultural products and appreciation for harvests, improve industrial technologies, and motivate workers. The stamp depicts Japan's representative agricultural and fisheries products and scenery of farming village. Stamp is released on 2011, November 22nd, and it was printed in offset lithography. And then the Labor Thanksgiving Day is a modern name for the ritual of harvest festival. Ninamase, the ritual, the emperor makes the season's first offering of freshly harvested rice to gods and then eats the rice himself. Ninamase came to be held in November 23rd during the Meiji era and was nationally celebrated even. After the Second World War, Labor Thanksgiving Day was established to mark the fact that the fundamental human rights were guaranteed and the rights of workers were greatly expanded in the post-war constitution. This mini sheet, as we have shown in the previous slide also, 2011, November 22nd was the time it was released. Then, this is the stamp I talked to you about, 2012 stamp, which crept into this 2011. This stamp was released in 2012, September 4th. Okay, 40th anniversary of normalization of Japan Japan-China diplomatic relations. These stamps are issued to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the normalized Japan-China diplomatic relations. You can see there are two different types of flowers in this. They are representative flowers of both Japan, which is normally cherry blossom, and China is Pioneer Supricosa, or arranged in this design, and 28 by 39 millimeter stamp, no watermark, and printed in photograph. The 150th birth anniversary of Makino Tomitaro is 212, again released, I'm sorry. Tomitaro Makino was a pioneer Japanese botanist, noted for his taxonomic work. He was being called as the father of Japanese botany. He was one of the first Japanese botanists to work extensively on classifying Japanese plants using a system developed by Linnaeus. His research resulted in documenting 50,000 specimens, many of which are represented in Makino's illustrated Flora of Japan, and his birthday is remembered as a Botany Day in Japan. This stamp was released on April 24, 2012. ATNs into 5 different designs and printed in 6 colors offset. Reversion of Okinawa to Japan, 2012 stamp again. On June of 1971, the Okinawa reversion agreement was signed, and the hand of control took place a year later. Under the Treaty of Mutual Cooperation and Security, a large U.S. military presence was to remain even after the reversion, despite a lot of protests by the local population. May 15, 2022 marks the 15th anniversary of the reversion of Okinawa to Japan by the United States. The 55th anniversary, not 50th, I'm sorry, 55th anniversary. To commemorate this historic event of UW Japan Studies program, has invited an international group of Okinawa Studies researchers to study impact and aftermath. So you can see this beautiful stamp. I mean, one of the nicest stamps, beautiful colors, and pretty good design, showing the Suri Castle, and we have the Okinawa aquarium, which is supposed to be the second best in the world for you to see, and the monorail there, and Ikema Ohashi Bridge. So these are part of the thing. And then the 60th anniversary of National Museum of Modern Art Tokyo in 2012, and 50th anniversary of National Museum of Modern Art Kyoto in 2013. Together, one commemorative sheet was released to commemorate these two together. The 2012 commemorates 60th anniversary of the National Museum of Modern Art, Tokyo, MOMAT, and the first National Museum. And additionally, 2013 commemorates 50th anniversary of National Museum of Modern Arts in Kyoto, MAK, which opened as an annex museum of the Tokyo Museum. These stamps are issued to celebrate both the occasions there. The stamp was released on June 1st, 2012. Then Ikebana, 550 years history, 2012. The stamps are issued to commemorate 550 years since the name of Ikebana first appeared in historic records as Ikizan Ichiroko in 1462. The stamps depict representative styles of Ikebana from a literature of important cultural property. And then you can see this is printed with 10 stamps. Actually, it's 5 designs, but 10 stamps. It's of face value, as you can see, is 80 yens face value. So if you buy a sheet, it's 800 yens. The 20th anniversary Japan U.S. peacekeeping force contribution in 2012 as of 31st January 2005. 103 countries are taking part in the UN peacekeeping operation with a total personnel level of approximately 65,000. In accordance with the International Peace Cooperation Law enacted in 1992, Japan has cooperated in 8 peacekeeping operations. Japan's first substantial participation in a peacekeeping operation was in 1989, when 27 electoral observers were dispatched to the United Nations Transition Assistance Group, UNTAG, in Namibia. Okay, the 1300th anniversary of the Kojiki. 2012 marks the 1300th anniversary of the compilation of the Kojiki record of ancient matters, completed the year 712. The Kojiki is the oldest existing record of Japanese history and is a text that is vital to any discussion of the ancient Japanese history. Even if a merely historical record, the value of the Kojiki is unquestionable, as it is a collection of a large amount of Japanese mythology. The Kojiki begins during the period known as Kamiyo, the age of the gods, starting with the Japanese creation myth. So you can see the stamps which show you the mythology of Japan and its creation. IMF International Monetary Fund Annual Meet 2012. This issue commemorates 2012 annual meeting of IMF held in Tokyo from October 12th to 14th. The stamps depict the represented historic Japanese coins from the Wado Kaichin to gold, silver, copper coins issued under the new currency act adopted in 1871. You can see them, and then in Japan you can buy these coins, not the original, the replica, as an indicator of how these coins look. I also got one of them in my office. My Japanese friends jokingly asked me, are they real? Then you should be a very, very rich person. I'm saying it's all fakes that I got only as a thing to hang on the wall to exhibit. I can tell my students how the Japanese coin system was looking like in the olden days. The 50th anniversary of Japan's Women's Association for Rehabilitation Aid 2013. These stamps were issued to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Japan's Women's Association for Rehabilitation Aid, a central volunteer organization that aims at preventing crime, juvenile delinquency, and rehabilitating offenders. Japan, as you all know, very, very low crime rate, and women can still walk freely, even late in the night. Very rarely people disturb them. The 120th anniversary of Volunteer Fire Service 2013. This is an interesting thing. This stamp depicts Juisaburo Nakamura, a famous kabuki actor, as a firefighter painted by Kunichida Toyohara, and Nakamura is seen wearing costumes of firefighters. So actually he's not a firefighter, he's a kabuki actor. Many times, like our models, he was a model. And these stamps were issued to commemorate the 120th anniversary of Shobogumi, the firefighting division, since the establishment of the Shobogumi regulation in 1894. The stamps depict popular kabuki actors dressed in firefighters in color prints called Tokyo Ichini Dete Koreba by Toyohara Kunichika. The 50th anniversary of legislating the ambulance services. In Japan, ambulance services originated by the Osaka branch office of the Red Cross in 1931. In 1933, the fire department of Yokohama started ambulance service. This, however, without any legal requirements. Since early 1960s, Japan has experienced a rapid development of industry and economy, so that traffic accidents have increased, necessitating a nationwide ambulance service system. In October 1961, the Director General of Fire Defense Agency organized a Fire Defense Council to study the problem of ambulance services. In response, a Fire Defense Act was amended in 1963, assigning ambulance service responsibility to fire departments organizations. You can see a mini sheet showing the Saturn and pair of stamps, helicopter that goes for firefighting as well as ambulance service, and also the helicopter used for airlifting as an air ambulance. So then 400th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Japan and Spain. The first contact between Japan and Spain occurred in 1549 when the Japanese Spanish missionary Francis Xavier arrived in Japan. While in Japan, he founded the first Catholic colony in Japan. In 1565, Japan created the Manila Acapulco trade route, which is the trade routes between Manila and the Mexican port of Acapulco, both nations under Spanish rule at that time. Through this trade route, traded with neighboring countries or territories within the vicinity. Some of these territories were in the islands of Japan. Japan is Spain's second largest trading partner in Asia, and Spain is Japan's sixth largest trading partner in Europe. And so, if you see this sheet that's there, and you can see this has been issued to commemorate the thing on 2011, October, the month of October. Then 50th year of relationship with Kenya. Japan recognized Kenya soon after independence, and 1964, the Embassy of Japan in Nairobi was opened. In 1979, Kenya's embassy in Japan was opened. Nairobi now hosts one of the largest Japanese expatriate communities in Africa. The Embassy of Japan in Kenya is also accredited to Eritrea, Seychelles, and Somalia. The Embassy of Kenya in Japan is located in Meguro. Now, this is a very, very beautiful stamp because you all know Kenya, Tanzania is the place if you want to see wildlife as in the nature. So, and also the river crossing between Kenya and Japan is the wildebeest river crossing is very, very famous. So this particular stamp, and the Japanese love to see animals. That's why the Ueno Zoo is very, very famous, and many countries have contributed to the Ueno Zoo. Even India has given elephants to Ueno Zoo. The first elephant was given by Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. And so this stamp shows December 12th, 2013, this was released to the 50th anniversary of Japan-Kenya diplomatic relationship. And I always love this stamp because it's very beautifully designed and shows the wildlife sanctuary or the wildlife in nature in Kenya. So thank you all very much. There's a small shop I saw in Osaka in near Totomboro. And it's in the night. I saw the statue with all the lamps. So I like this perspective. So I took the picture and I thought I will share the same with you all. Thank you for joining me and our team. See you next Saturday with the 45th team presentation, which will be the 7th and the last in the series of anniversaries and events. With that, we would have covered almost all the anniversaries events, except the current 2022 latest months. Almost up to that, we have done all the events and the anniversaries have been completed. Thank you all very much. See you next